So, Laura is a former corporate suit from London who turned into a startup founder, who turned into a passionate graphic designer. In her spare time, she also works on a book about finding fulfillment in life, targeting millennials. Her talk, How to Launch an App and Fail, Then Be Okay After That. So let's welcome our first speaker, Laura.
Hello. Hi, I'm Laura. Right, so today I'm going to take you on a very personal journey of mine that took 2 years. And I had to compress it all in 7 minutes, so it's going to be very intense, a lot of events happening, so please bear with me. And I want to tell you that I want you to take away one thing, one lesson. And then at the end of my talk, I want you to be able to ask yourself a question that turned out to be one of the most important questions I've asked myself. So let me take you through my story. So this is me. This is me on top of the world. Well, actually, it's not top of the world. It's top of the on top of the bar in London. In this beautiful sunny day, according to London standards, it is sunny. And I'm wearing this beautiful pencil dress and high heel shoes. And let me tell you, I was working with one of the top management consulting firms in the world. And I was working really hard to make it a partner. That's what I thought I wanted. And also, apart from that, I also wanted to change the world. How I was going to do that, being part of the City of London, I didn't know, but I was working hard towards that goal. And I did it for 5 years. 5 years, at the end of the 5 years around that, I went traveling to Japan. It was a normal annual leave holiday, 2 weeks. But what was special about Japan is that's me looking at these beautiful cherry blossoms. What was special about it is it was the first time I felt lonely. It wasn't the first time I went traveling alone, but it was definitely the first time I felt lonely. And that's the idea for an app that was born. And the app idea was to connect people with each other based on activities they wanted to do together, right here, right now. So very instantaneous fashion. So I got inspired to do that. I got back and set up a landing page for the app. And over that project, I was working still full-time in my management consulting job. Evening and weekends I was spending doing that until I realized that this is something more than a hobby. So I quit my corporate job, very, very comfortable corporate job. Hired a developer, and we've launched, it was Christmas 2015, we've submitted to Apple, they got approved, and then in February 2016, so just over a year ago, we've launched. So what happened is that I printed out a bunch of flyers, and I think it was 500 flyers, and I went to Camden Town Station, and some of you may not know, it's one of the tourist spots. And I thought I'm going to hand out those flyers there to the tourists who are looking for things to do and connect with each other. And I told my developer, James, you need to stay at home just in case our servers get crashed. Of all the sign-ups we're going to get, and I think you know what's coming. I've handed about maybe 50 flyers because people were very reluctant to take them. And our servers didn't crash. We had about one sign-up, and even that wasn't complete. But what happened, I didn't lose my spirits. I was like, you know what, it's fine. And I was really confident I'm going to change the world, and I'm going to be, sorry, I don't know what to do. Yes. So I was really convinced that I was still going to change the world with the app, and I'm going to get acknowledged for that. People are going to know me as Laura who changed the world with her app. So I powered through. I powered through with not much of direction rather than changing the world. And I found myself in Cyprus talking to refugees from Afghanistan, Syria, and Palestine, and talking to them about my app, because one of the applications I thought is that refugees can connect with each other and to volunteers and to the local communities. And what I didn't know when I was delivering that talk, those refugees were thinking that I was I'm a journalist who's going to help them to get their paperwork done. And I didn't know that. I only found out about it at the end of the talk, where my audience were like, okay, well, the app sounds interesting, but how about that problem? And when I explained to them what I was doing, they were like, oh, okay. And they were really forgiving. They were like, oh, that sounds great. Let us know when the Android version gets launched. And I was like, cool. So I left Cyprus. And I realized, apart from that being lonely, I realized that I'm I'm having a nervous breakdown. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know, speaking to those refugees. I didn't know what are the applications for the app out there. But I still kept going because it's my nature to just keep on going. And it worked out, actually. What happened is that we got accepted to a Google accelerator. And it was a very intense week where people there poked holes in the whole business plan, or the lack of. The fact that I was trying to change the world and get acknowledged for that, it basically ended up me working on a passion project that had no revenue model whatsoever. And it was very hard to listen to that feedback. But in my nature, I took it on the chin and I pivoted. I changed my strategy and I decided I'm going to work with corporates instead. I'm going to introduce the app to people, to my old employer. I actually reached out to them and have people of the same company connect to one another. If they want to go for lunch or if they want to go for coffee, things like that. And that's the stall that I had in September 2016. And that is just before the opening. Trust me, the whole stall was swarmed with people. But at the end of it, we only got 10 signups. And actually, this photo is the last public appearance of Be Here, the app that I've worked so hard on and poured my life savings into it. And I think a few days after that, I realized that I'm having another nervous breakdown, much harder than the first one. And I found myself in the therapist chair, crying my eyes out and questioning my whole existence. And it was then that I asked the question myself that I'm still thankful for that I did. I asked myself, what would I do day in and day out if I didn't have to worry about money? It's a theoretical question. Of course you have to worry about money. But the answer was there. The moment where I was the most vulnerable, the truth was staring me right in the face. I was always interested in art. It's just I never really considered it as a career. My dad said, it's good you're interested in art, but how about you do an economics degree? And the answer was there, graphic design. So what I did in my action-oriented fashion, I signed up for a graphic design course. And that's my portfolio, already printed at the graduation show. The course was super intense. I had to give up all my social life for that. But I felt like this was the right thing to do. I had my inner compass telling me that this is what I could do day in and day out. And in the process of it, I was still dealing with the fact that the app, something I was so passionate about and I wanted to change the world, didn't work out. But what happened at the end of it, after the graduation show, 2 weeks later, I was in Bali. But what happened before the graduation show is that I closed my first client. And this is the last image. It's not hugely impressive until you actually see the details. But this is a Kickstarter page for my client. And right here, you can see that they've reached their goal. And this is the design that I came up with. The client was it is a board game company. It's a woman who designed her own board game, and she needed a designer. And a year ago, I would do anything to be in TechCrunch and to be covered in Fast Company. And a year later, actually, my designs are there. They're covered by TechCrunch and they're covered by Fast Company, because this is design I came up with, and my client won, and I've achieved the impact in the process of achieving and I've achieved what I wanted. The impact is there, maybe not as direct, but people who play in that game, they will be touching my designs, they will be interacting with them. So there's, like I said, there's one takeaway and one question I wanted to leave with. The takeaway is, whatever you do it for the right reasons. Don't do it for the fame, don't do it for the money. Do it for the right reasons. Do because you want to do what you love doing. And then don't be afraid to ask yourself a question. What would you do if money wasn't a question? Because the answer could be very, very scary, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be impossible to achieve. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Laura. It is always tough getting up there and being the first one. So, and I know how talented you are because I've been sending people to you for business. So you're doing a fantastic job with stuff that you're doing. Okay, so we're going to open it up to the floor. If anybody has a question for Laura that you'd like to ask her about her journey or any thoughts on that. So, anybody? Yes, what is your question?
Yeah,
Can you want to maybe stand up and
sure.
project?
Those 2 nervous breakdowns, right? Must have been so scary. What made you stand up again?
I need to think about that. I don't think I've reflected. I think, like I said, thank you for your question, first of all. Like I said, I'm a very action-oriented person, and I just kept on going. I think it was in my nature to try a bit more, to go a bit farther. What made me get up? I just felt at those moments that I'm not done yet. I know it sounds very wishy-washy, but it was the darkest moment in September 2016, where I was, like I said, I was questioning my life overall, whether it's worth it or not. But I think, yes, I had this inherent feeling that it's not over, that there's something else, that I still haven't fulfilled something. That's what made me kept on going. And also, I'm not joking at all about that. Having a therapist was so helpful throughout this journey, because throughout the journey, I've learned so much about myself, and having that ongoing support was incredible. And I'd love to acknowledge her for helping me with that. But absolutely, I think in London there is a whole stigma about having therapy sessions, and I wish it wasn't that way. And at the end of my journey, I actually found out that a lot of startup founders and CEOs suffer from the same symptoms that I do. And in a way, I became quite vocal about therapy. Is that you go to the gym a few times a week, but you don't to take care of your body. But who's going to take care of your mind?
One more question back there.
Maybe not so much a question, but have you heard of Nomad Soulmates?
I did, yes, and I think they've launched later.
They have. I just wondered that because the person the founder, I met her the other day. She's in Bali. So if you wanted to meet up, you could maybe meet up, and maybe you end up working on a project, doing graphic design or something that's kind of similar to what you're thinking.
Sure, thank you for that. I certainly have heard about them, and I have heard about a lot of apps popping up in the same space. It just meant that I was on the right track. It's just the way that I approached it, like I said, the takeaways that I was doing it for the wrong reasons. The reasons was to get full acknowledgement for my efforts and change the world. I think for now, I'd like to park it. And then I think I'm very happy where I am standing right in front of you and being a graphic designer.
No, I was
But
thinking of a graphic design, Microsoft graphic design. But
sure, thank you. Thank you so much for your suggestion.
That's great. Thanks so much, Laura. Let's give her a big round of applause for going first. Yeah?